to 3 knuckles and roll.
Most general sense, Banjo Mystery number 5 is about pounding muscle energy into your banjo. This is a primitive way to look at it, but a lot of banjo players never seem to advance beyond the beginner's brute force approach to picking the banjo. They pound on their banjo like it owes them money. We can do better, so let's develop this idea of attack and release and explore the gentler ways to make our music. Let's become more sophisticated in how we shape our ideas into music. What we are really striving for is to maximize the music and minimize the physical engagement. In other words, to become one with your banjo. To become a smooth, efficient machine. To become part of a flowing process with no right angles and no sharp corners. No robotic falsity, no Frankenstein jerkiness, no rigid goose-stepping marching bands. If you can achieve this easygoing physical bond with your banjo, then the music that emerges will reflect your smooth mechanical alignment. Once you have learned these important skills, the skills we discussed in previous Banjo Mysteries, the banjo music you are searching for will be the sound you will be making, your own personal smooth driving bluegrass music. By now you should be thinking of your fingertips as something special. Can you visualize the glow at the tips? If you have done the work up to now, then your focus should be on your fingertips. So trace out your own history in the chart, and you will see that with attack and release, we are down to the last step of making music. So follow the arrows, see what goes in and what comes out. Here we have your brain on bluegrass at the center of the chart. You, the egg-shaped Scruggs dreamer, and going into your brain is your bluegrass experience, what you have listened to, your rhythm-focused physical training, and your banjo lessons, the technique you learned. Going out, your brain sends your musical ideas shaped by rhythm to your trained muscles, which control the banjo, and then out comes the music. Notice what a small part of the whole banjo picking business are the actual music lessons, the DVDs, the tabs, the licks the banjo teachers. These things are just a little part of what you need to learn to get the music to come out of the banjo. Now really, you shouldn't be boxing with your banjo. Let's talk about a more gentle approach. Take a quick glance at your whole body with shoulders, arm, and hand, all the way down to the fingers. And then squint really hard at the fingertips. This is where the bluegrass action lives. Come to think of it, a basketball is a better illustration than a punching bag. Let's check out the basketball lady.
On the floor, but you don't slap it. This is what a lot of beginner basketball players do. They slap the ball. What you want to do is push it down with your palm, with your fingers. There's a little space between the hand and the ball. You push it down with all your fingers. You don't slap the ball. So once again, you're in a basket.
What we have here, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, is a packet of organized energy being delivered to a vibrating string. Think of a punching bag or a basketball. The quicker you move and the shorter the sliding connection between you and the string, then the less time you have to mess with the string other than to give it a shot. In other words, you don't want the worries that come with sustained contact with the banjo string. With the banjo, you can get back some of your energy each time you slow down and reverse the direction of the string. Think of the difference between jumping on a hard blacktop or jumping on a trampoline, or bouncing a basketball filled with sawdust. Tired muscles and cramped fingers are sure signs of a poor energy exchange between you and your banjo. It all comes down to how hard do you have to jump or bounce or pick. Let's take a quick trip back to the early days and see what it was like picking a banjo. How hard do you have to pick? Once upon a time in bluegrass history, a banjo picker had to pick very hard. In the early years of bluegrass performance, if they were well-to-do, the band leader or promoter had a single World War II ribbon microphone for the vocal and cone speakers hanging up in the trees all over for the audience to stand under. Singers belted it out with heads clustered tight around that single mic. The choreography was visually interesting, but it was done just to get in and out from the single mic without a train wreck. Banjos with soggy goatskin heads had to be hung high on the neck and picked as loud as possible right up next to that crowded single vocal mic, or banjo breaks would not be heard. Eddie Adcock tells of his days picking banjo for Bill Monroe, taking his banjo breaks by clamping the banjo tight under his chin. He could hold the banjo up to the mic with his left and right hands, but he needed to pin the resonator with his chin to make it steady enough to pick hard. Mixing boards and sound men are needed to adjust the feedback and output levels for every microphone channel. They can gather up and amplify all the intimate details of your string contact, all the squeaks, the squeals and ghost notes you crank out into the mic and into the audience. You can't escape the objective ear of the modern sound system. Nowadays, technology makes a lighter touch possible, and a lighter touch has advantages. A light touch can be much more versatile and expressive than a heavy hand, and easier to control. Let's look into how you can develop your own light touch. Let's move away from the punching bag and turn to the basketball, which takes a different and gentler touch. In fact, the gentler touch is the key to handling a basketball.
At the ball. And don't let the ball go high up. You got to control it so it doesn't go past your waist. It should not go up to your shoulders. Okay? And basketball hand that's dribbling should be relaxed. It should not be stiff. Okay? It's relaxed, pushing the ball down instead of being stiff and slapping it. Relaxed, pushing the hand down. Good.
Okay, I get it. Don't slap the basketball. But handling the basketball demands more than just a gentler touch. You must learn basketball technique that allows you to control the ball with your fingertips.
And you're going to kind of curl up with your fingers. So it's going to be kind of like that. You're kind of spinning it. See that? And at the same time, you're going to kind of, as you're curling up with your fingers, you're gonna kind of try to push down with your thumb too, so you're kind of squeezing it out. So after a while, it's gonna be mostly with your fingers, but a little bit with your thumbs pushing down, but mostly with your fingers curling up. So it's almost like you're pulling the ball up and then pushing it down real quick. And from there, it just becomes a rhythm thing, just back and forth, back and forth.
Banjo attack and release is a lot like Nautic style basketball dribbling. Contact with the fingertips, energy is soaked up into the hand. The fingertips slow it down and send it back the other way, keeping some of the returning energy as a bonus, like jumping on a trampoline. The smoothness and efficiency of the contact is the skill we must develop. Of course, this happens much too fast to think about, so it has to be an ingrained habit. Like the basketball player, you can power your picking at different levels. The student wants to develop his baseline attack and release. This is equivalent to dribbling the basketball at a comfortable pace, a student's pace, an easy pace to practice and learn your moves. Like the basketball in a serious game, Scruggs-style picking can get powerful and aggressive at times. This aspect of picking banjo is covered in a later mystery on pulling tone. For now, let's stick to the student's basic workaday attack and release, where the magic fingertip can mature in comfort. What have we learned so far about attack and release? We found that your hand is bouncing elastically, just like the ball. The fingers and the strings make up a mirrored system of bouncing masses. Your fingertips must be trained to control this energy exchange. Playing the banjo is more than just pounding on the strings. It's a lot like basketball, where you have to practice for thousands of hours to develop the proper touch, the winning technique of handling the ball. Now you see better where you stand when you compare the banjo with the basketball. Basketball players don't expect they will be experts in a couple of years. They know very well that there is a long and difficult road ahead if they want to be a pro. In this Banjo Mystery, you learn the importance of attack and release, and how historically we have a tradition of hard picking that arose out of necessity. Developing good attack and release habits is a crucial step in your growth as a musician. Attack and release, a brief, clean touch, is what you want to cultivate and grow into the magic touch, the pro touch. In part B, we will slow things down and take a very close look at this magic touch.